and the investigation has a preliminary stage. And the fact is that right now, excuse me, there you go. The law enforcement and intelligence community are continuing to look for any connections, associations, or co-conspirators. We have nothing additional to report at this time. The investigation is continuing to be active, and no one should jump to conclusions. God protect our troops, and we'll keep you fully, contemporaneously informed. Thank you.
Have you spoken to President Trump?
Are you concerned about more attacks?
Have you spoken to President Trump?
Investigated as a terror attack?
This is my video update on this Thursday afternoon, January the 2nd, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And unfortunately, we are off to a very bad start for 2025. We had a shooting in Montenegro, leaving 10 people dead. The shooter self-deleted. It was something to do with a bar fight, and the shooter decided to kill the bar owner as well as the bar owner's family, and then he self-deleted, and that happened in Montenegro. And in the United States, the big story is the terrorist attack in New Orleans when a rented truck driven by a former U.S. Army guy from Texas, I believe, ran over crowds celebrating the New Year on Bourbon Street, leaving 15 people at the time of this recording, 15 people dead and 35 people taken to hospital. The driver of the truck got out of the truck and started firing at police, I believe, and then the police, they killed this terrorist. And this is being called a terrorist act. The reports are that the driver of this truck had an ISIS flag. This is what reports claim. And on the same day, we had a Tesla Cybertruck blow up in Vegas in front of a Trump property, I believe Trump Tower in Vegas. This Cybertruck blew up. The reports are that the owner driver of the Cybertruck, or maybe the Cybertruck was rented. Actually, I believe I read it was rented. Actually, I read reports saying that it was rented from the same company that the truck in New Orleans that ran over the crowds in New Orleans was rented from. I don't know. These are reports that I'm reading. I'm not sure how accurate they are, but anyway, the driver of this Cybertruck was killed. Killed himself, maybe. Not sure. But the Cybertruck was loaded with fireworks or explosives, and it was parked outside of a Trump Tower, and that happened at pretty much the same time that the terrorist act in New Orleans happened. And Elon Musk is actually saying that the Cybertruck in Vegas was actually a terrorist attack as well. And I've read reports that the person in this Cybertruck, the person that rented or owned this Cybertruck, was also U.S. Army. I believe he was stationed in Afghanistan. Reports say that the driver in New Orleans was also in Afghanistan. I don't know if there's a connection. There's actually an investigation now, an FBI investigation, looking to see if there was some sort of connection between what happened in New Orleans and what happened in Vegas. Actually, Biden said as much in his statements about these two attacks. FBI probing possible connection between New Orleans attack and Cybertruck blast, according to Biden. ABC reports that Las Vegas explosion suspect served at the same military base as the terrorist responsible for the attack in New Orleans. There you go, according to ABC News. So there is a connection, or it looks like there's a connection between what happened in New Orleans and what happened in Las Vegas. They served at the same military base. Okay, Elon Musk posted on X, "We have now confirmed that the explosion was caused by very large fireworks and or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck and is unrelated to the vehicle itself. All vehicle telemetry was positive at the time of the explosion." Okay, so it was a rented Cybertruck. A rented Cybertruck, a rented truck in New Orleans, rented Cybertruck in Vegas. Both served at the same military base, I believe in Afghanistan. And the one guy had an ISIS flag, according to reports. The terrorist act in New Orleans. An ISIS flag in the truck. Jack Posobiec posted on X, "Amazing how ISIS magically returns just as Trump is poised to pull out of Syria." Yeah, amazing, huh? Just as Trump is poised to pull the U.S. out of Syria. Is he going to pull the U.S. out of Syria? I'm reading reports which claim that the U.S. is building up its military presence in Syria so that it can deter Erdogan from launching a war against the U.S.-backed Kurds in Syria. We'll see what will happen when Trump takes office on January 20th. But it's interesting that we have these terrorist attacks happening right at the same time as everything that has happened in Syria. Al-Jawlani is now the government. Al-Jawlani, HTS, Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, whatever you want to call them. They are now the government in Syria. The U.S., Turkey, Israeli-backed Al-Jawlani, HTS, Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, ISIS. They are the government in Syria. But he's now wearing a suit and tie, so he's now legit. Al-Jawlani. Anyway, that is the news out of the United States and out of Montenegro. So let's now move on to Russia. Russia and the Putin cutting off the gas to the European Union. That happened yesterday. With the new year, we got the evil Putin cutting off the gas to the European Union. Why would he do such a thing? Man, Putin, why would you do such a thing? Terrible what Putin is doing, huh? To the freedom-loving democracies of the European Union, huh? All they want is gas. All they want is gas, and Putin decided that with the new year, he's going to cut off the gas, just like that. For no reason. Man, Putin, for no reason. That's just mean. That is mean. So Putin is going to cause gas shortages, perhaps, maybe, but the European Union, they're very smart. They're very smart. They're very clever. They prepared for the possibility of Putin waking up one morning in 2025, waking up on the morning of January 1st, 2025, and cutting off the gas. Ursula anticipated this because Ursula is incredibly clever, and she's always 5 steps ahead of Russia and Putin. And so they anticipated this, and they've been working out deals with Qatar. They've been working out deals with the United States and getting LNG from the U.S. They still have Turkstream and Erdogan. So the gas is going to be more expensive, but it's it's worth it. It's worth it because that's the price of freedom. That's the price of freedom, man. It warms my heart to know that as Europeans, we're willing to pay this price for freedom. Yeah, so yeah, no more Russian gas transiting via Ukraine to the European Union because Zelensky decided not to renew the gas contracts, the gas deals with Gazprom. So the gas is stopped via Ukraine, but you still have, as I mentioned, you still have gas transiting Turkstream. I believe it goes from Turkey to Bulgaria, and then from Bulgaria it goes to different countries in the EU. I believe Bulgaria and Greece maybe, and then it goes to different countries in the EU, and that is coming from Russia to Turkey, and then Erdogan sends the gas to Europe. So you have that. You have Turkstream. You have the LNG from the US and possibly Qatar, though the EU is kind of in a bit of a fight with Qatar because they want to impose fines on Qatar, 5% fines on the global revenue on Qatar energy because they're not fulfilling the EU's green targets or green initiatives. So they're looking to fine Qatar. And Qatar said, if you guys fine us 5% on our global revenue for delivering gas to LNG gas to the European Union, then we're just going to stop delivering LNG gas to the European Union. But anyway, that's a whole different story. I talked about it on a different video update. So basically you have Turkstream and you have the US LNG. This is from Zero Hedge. Europe has gone from relying entirely on cheap Russian gas to relying entirely on expensive US LNG. The price of freedom. It is the price of freedom, everybody. That's what it is. Yeah, Turkey controls the gas going to the European Union. The pipeline gas. The pipeline gas now is controlled by Erdogan. He also controls the refugee flow into the European Union. 3.2 million refugees in Turkey that he could release at any moment into Europe. Now you know why Ursula went to Turkey a couple of weeks ago and gave Erdogan a really nice Christmas gift of 1 billion euros. Now you know why. Man, Erdogan has the EU by the cajones, man. Congratulations, Europe. You went from cheap, reliable Russian gas, dependable, very dependable Russian gas, from the times of the Soviet Union. That's how dependable it was. And now you're 100% dependent on Turkey and Erdogan, not only for gas, but also for refugees, for preventing refugees from flooding into Europe. Oh boy, it doesn't sound like a good deal to me. But anyway, what do I know? Ursula knows better. So thank you, USA Sikorsky, the man who posted on X, thank you, USA, when Gilligan and the skipper blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. He posted on X, Putin spent billions building Nord Stream to circumvent Ukraine and blackmail Eastern Europe with the threat of cutting off gas supplies. Today, Ukraine cut off his ability to export gas direct to the EU. Another victory after the enlargement of NATO by Finland and Sweden. Yeah, that's right, Sikorsky, another victory. another freaking victory for the European Union. The EU is just winning, man. They're just posting W's like crazy, dude. Sikorsky. He even mentions Nord Stream in this post. The guy even mentions Nord Stream. Basically, he's saying, in this post on X, he's saying, we blew up Nord Stream and now we cut off the gas from Russia. Congratulations, EU. And now EU citizens are going to pay a whole lot more for just about everything. Just about everything. That is what the EU citizens are going to get for our genius moves. Oh boy, you know what Russia should do? Here's what Russia should do. They should offer free gas to Europe, to the EU, for 1 year. Putin should make an announcement and say, you know what? I offer you free gas, free, no strings attached, gas via Nord Stream, via Ukraine, whatever. You decide, because Nord Stream, there still is one pipeline that can still operate. So that's what Putin should say. I'm giving you guys free gas. Germany, I'm giving you 1 year free gas. You can rebuild your industries, become competitive again. What do you say? That's what Putin should offer. And see the EU's reaction. Is this really about Russian gas? Is this really about Putin's war machine? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is about making it difficult for European citizens, making it expensive for European citizens, so that eventually BlackRock can just buy up everything. That's what I think this is all about. Nothing more than that. Slowly squeezing the citizens of Europe. Squeezing them so that they'll own nothing and be happy, right? Yeah, that should be the offer that Putin makes. And you watch. The EU would still not take it, even if the gas was free. Even if the gas was not funding his war machine because it's free, doesn't fund my war machine at all. That's what Putin should say. It's not going to fund my war machine. What do you say? And the EU will still turn it down because it has nothing to do with Putin, has nothing to do with Russia or the conflict in Ukraine. It has everything to do with making life difficult for the citizens of the EU. That's what this is about. The media is blaming Putin. The collective West media is blaming him. Putin is about to cut Russian gas to his allies, Hungary and Slovakia. Yep, it's all Putin's fault. Ukraine is not renewing the contracts with Gazprom. Ukraine, on the orders, most likely on the orders of the European Union and above the European Union. They're not renewing those gas contracts. So the gas will not transit via Ukraine, but it's Putin's fault, according to the Times. Politico says that Russia cuts off gas to Moldovan separatists, risking humanitarian crisis. Moldovan separatists. Putin, Russia, cutting off the gas. What is Politico saying here? Russia's state energy giant, Gazprom, turned off the taps earlier Wednesday following expiration of a long-term transit agreement that allowed it to export via pipelines running across neighboring Ukraine. What an interesting paragraph from Politico, huh? What an interesting paragraph. The contract just expired, man. It just expired. Why will they not renew that contract? I don't know. They just, whoever that contract was with, it's just not being renewed. It was running through neighboring Ukraine. It was running through neighboring Ukraine, those pipelines. And the contract just expired. Just expired. Speaking to Politico, Moldova's national security advisor, Stanislav Secreru, accused Russia of weaponizing its energy exports to destabilize Moldova economically and socially, weaken the pro-reform government ahead of the elections, and manufacture political demand for the return of pro-Russian forces to power. Yep, Russia is weaponizing the gas contract that happened to expire. For some reason, is not being renewed. I don't know why it's not being renewed. It was passing through the neighboring country of Ukraine, says Politico. And then it just expired, and that was it. And now Russia's weaponizing gas transit. Oh boy, regime change is starting in Hungary. That's right, regime change is starting in Hungary. You know, there's gonna be elections in Hungary in 2026. But the Juan Guaido of Hungary, the Juan Guaido of Budapest, Peter Magyar, he is now calling on snap elections. He's calling to move up those elections from 2026 to 2025. And Magyar, he is the Juan Guaido, the Tikhanovskaya of Hungary. That is who Magyar is. He's the Salome Zurabichvili of Hungary, Peter Magyar. EU, the EU candidate, the EU puppet from top to bottom. And the regime change operation is beginning in Hungary to remove Orban. EU cancels billions in aid to Hungary. The EU has announced that they are refusing to give funds that are owed to Hungary to the Orban government because they claim that the Orban government is just not reforming the way that, actually let's go this way and cross, the way that the EU would like them to reform. And so, because you're not reforming the way we want you to reform, we're going to not give you the billions and billions of euros that we owe you. We'll just send those billions to Zelensky in the form of a loan backed by the Russian frozen assets. That's what the European Union is going to do. So yeah, they're putting the squeeze on Hungary. They're going to try in 2025 to make it very difficult on the economy of Hungary. They're hoping that the blame will be placed on Orban, and Magyar, on his side of things, he's going to continue to push for early elections. And that's how they're going to try to get a regime change in Hungary in 2025. If they can't pull it off in 2025, then I guess they'll wait for the elections in 2026. And Magyar is their Guaido. He is their Juan Guaido. So that's the news coming out of Hungary. And let's now move over to Romania, where the Romanian court, it was a delayed verdict, and the verdict was supposed to come out a couple of days ago in connection to the canceled elections. Georgescu was saying that this is not right, you can't cancel elections. And he went to the courts so they could overturn the canceling of the second round of elections. And the court delayed the verdict till January 13, but then the news came out that the court would actually, let's go this way, that the court would actually deliver a verdict before January the 13th. And they did. They did deliver a verdict on the cancellation of the second round of elections in Romania. And the Romanian court, the Bucharest Court of Appeals, ruled the presidential elections remain canceled. They remain canceled. Romanian Appeals Court upholds scrubbing fishy presidential elections. The vote was annulled after a Kremlin-led influence campaign catapulted a pro-Russia candidate into the lead. That's the title from Politico. Man, a lot of propaganda coming out of Politico, huh? Did you guys get that? The vote was annulled after a Kremlin-led influence campaign catapulted a pro-Russia candidate into the lead. The title, Romanian Appeals Court upholds scrubbing fishy presidential election. Wow. That's just too much propaganda for me to take in, huh? That's right. Support, support, support. Cancel those elections in Romania. You have to save democracy. You have to save democracy. Support, 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 support. Save democracy in Romania. Cancel the elections. Cancel Russian gas to the EU. This is the price of freedom. Price of freedom is higher gas prices. That is the price of freedom. Oh man, no mention in this article about the investigative report from Snoop.ru. No mention of the Pied Piper strategy. None of that stuff. They're going to stick to the false narrative, the proven false narrative, according to the investigative report from Snoop.ru and the tax authorities of Romania, that they're going to stick to the narrative that it was a Russian influence campaign on Chinese-owned TikTok. That's what they're going to stick with. Oh boy. So that's Romania. In Germany, we have a fight that is developing between the pirate Schultz and Musk. And in his New Year's statement, his New Year's Eve statement, the pirate Schultz, he said, "You citizens decide what happens in Germany. It's not up to the owners of social media." That's right. The citizens of Germany will decide who wins the elections in Germany on February 23rd, not Elon Musk. Unless, of course, the elections don't go the way the European Union and the globalists want them to go, and the AfD does better than the CDU. Then, in order to save democracy, they'll rerun the elections or cancel the elections or cancel the AfD. But aside from all of that happening, it's the German citizens that decide the elections. That's not Musk, according to Schultz. Got to save democracy. That is what Schultz is saying. Got to save democracy. And you save democracy by shutting down the AfD. That's how you save democracy. Musk posted on X, "Chancellor Olaf Scholz, or whatever his name is, will lose." That is what he posted on X. That's Pirate Schultz, Mr. Musk. Pirate Schultz. Chancellor Pirate Schultz. Well, Schultz will lose. Musk is right about that. But the question is, will it be Merz? Who's worse than Schultz? Most likely. Most likely it will be Merz. And what's his coalition going to be? It'll be Merz, Pirate Schultz, and Habeck, and Annalena. That will most likely be the coalition in Germany. After February the 23rd, the more things change, the more they stay the same, unfortunately, for Germany. So let's do a Ukraine update. And over the new year, I believe the Russian Ministry of Defense did officially announce that they have captured Kurakovo. Am I wrong about that? But I believe I read somewhere that it is official. Kurakovo has been captured by the Russian military. The Russian flag was raised over the city center of Kurakovo. And the Russians are advancing across the entire front in the Donbass, advancing towards Pokrovsk, advancing in Toretsk to capture Toretsk. And Dnipro is very close. Dnipro is inside Dnipropetrovsk, the big major city of Dnipropetrovsk, is now within the Russian military's sight. And when we talk about Dnipropetrovsk, it's in the name. We're talking about the Dnieper. This is coming from the X account of AMK Mapping, which is very pro-Ukraine mapping. They posted, with Russian forces now controlling a significant portion of the high ground near Novodmitrivka, and, as of today, a foothold on the high ground near Petropavlivka. The way to Dnipropetrovsk Oblast is largely open as the terrain slowly slopes downhill, making offensive operations much easier. When the Russian military reaches the Dnieper, it's game over for the Ukraine military and for the Zelensky regime. It's game over. So the British Embassy in Kiev, they announced that 200 Ukraine pilots are ready to fly the F-16s, the wonder weapon known as the F-16. They're ready. Kind of ready. Oh, no relation. Nope, no relation and not spelled the same way. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, the British Embassy in Kiev announced that 200 Ukrainian pilots were allegedly prepared to begin training flights. 200 Ukrainian pilots have completed basic training to fly F-16s. In Britain, the pilots have completed basic flight ground and language training. Well, that means they will only start trying to fly now. Yeah, they're not going to be ready to fly F-16s anytime soon. They learned English. They learned English and they learned the basics. And now they're ready for some more training, which will take how long? Another 6 months? Another year? Another year and a half? Anyway, that's the news coming out of Britain, training the pilots for the F-16 wonder weapons. So let's do some clown worlds and we'll wrap up this video update. And let's stay with Ukraine and Zelensky's New Year's message, where he highlighted the military-industrial complex of Ukraine, the formidable MIC of Ukraine, but was also accused of lying in his New Year's address. In the 20-minute speech released on Tuesday, Zelensky touted what he described as the country's success in developing a variety of weapons, calling them arguments for a just peace with Russia. Ukraine is once again building its own missiles. As for the first time, it produces over 1 million drones in a year, forcing the enemy to learn Ukrainian, Palyanitsia, Peklo, Ruta, making them tremble as the words Neptune and Sapsan. All these are our missiles, Ukrainian, he said. Interesting that Zelensky talks about forcing the enemy to learn Ukrainian. I believe Zelensky had to learn Ukrainian to become president of Ukraine because his native language is Russian. But anyway, let's not get into that. So he names off all of the Ukrainian names of the weapons, of the missiles that Ukraine is allegedly producing. And the interesting part about the Sapsan missile that he named is that there was a video that was playing showing the missiles and showing the missiles in action. And when they showed the Sapsan, it was actually not a Ukraine Sapsan, but it was a South Korean missile instead. So the video that was accompanying his New Year's message, when he was talking about Ukraine's formidable Sapsan missile that they're producing in Ukraine, was actually a South Korean missile. and Ukrainian media channels and Russian media channels, they noticed this, and they called Zelensky out on this, saying, "Hey man, you're lying. You're lying. That was not a Ukrainian missile. That was a South Korean missile that was playing in your New Year's Eve video message." And what makes this clown world so sweet is the fact that they decided to play a video of a South Korean missile. A South Korean missile Is South Korea involved in the conflict in Ukraine? Do we have South Korean troops in Ukraine fighting for the Ukraine military? Do we have South Korean missiles being used by the Zelensky regime? I don't know. I don't know. Just the fact that they decided to go with a South Korean missile. Oh, that's ironic, don't you think? A little bit ironic. I really do think. Oh, man. Funny stuff. So Telegram founder, owner, CEO, hanging out in France with little Napoleon, Pavel Durov. He posted on X, access to certain Russian media has been restricted in the EU under DSA sanctions laws. Meanwhile, all Western media Telegram channels remain freely accessible in Russia. Who would have thought that in 2025, Russian Telegram users would enjoy more freedom than European? What a clever message from Pavel Durov, huh? Very clever message. He's a clever guy. He's a smart guy. Very smart guy. Who would have thought that it would be Russia that would be free, freedom of speech, and not the EU? Who would have ever thought that? Russia's the free country, according to Pavel Durov, as he hangs out in France with Macron. Very clever post. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like what I am wearing in this video update, which is a Duran hoodie and a Duran bomber jacket. Take care.